Of protesters wearing branded t-shirts and carrying placards with photographs of victims of the unrest.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are all over the world. Welcome back to my channel. It is still your one and only 24/7 news boss. We are here to bring you another fresh update concerning the IPOB. And if you are joining us for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share this video, and also don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our breaking stories. In today's update, we will turn our attention to a story shaking the heart of the Zoo Nation's democracy. The legal and political battle surrounding the planned Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest led by activist Omoyele Sowore. Just days before the scheduled protest, the zoo government has gone to court, seeking an order to stop the march, but the court said no. What does this mean for the October 20th protest, and what could this decision mean for freedom of speech and political activism in the Zoo Nation? Stay tuned as we break it all down, the facts, the reactions, the divisions, and what the citizens are saying. The zoo government has filed a lawsuit seeking to halt the planned Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest led by renowned human rights activist and pro-democracy campaigner Omoyele Sowore. The lawsuit filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja by the zoo government through its lawyer Wisdom Madaki asked the court to issue an order stopping Sowore and 3 others from organizing, protesting, or participating in the protest, which calls for the unconditional release of detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. The protest, scheduled for October 20th, 2025, was planned to begin at 7 a.m. with the protesters marching toward Aso Rock Villa, in what Sowore described as a historic demonstration for justice, freedom, and democracy. But in a twist that caught many by surprise, Justice M.G. Omar of Federal High Court 5 refused to grant the zoo government's ex parte requests. Instead, the judge ruled that Sowore must be served with a formal notice and allowed to respond. The matter was adjourned to October 21st, a day after the planned protest. The legal decision means that, for now, there is no official order stopping the protest from taking place. Let's sit back and watch the short video.
They have done everything. Blackmail me. Some of them say, I'm looking for votes. Some of them say, I want to take the last of Igbos. Some of them have accused me of all kinds of things. When this did not work, they went to court today to go and look for a court order to stop me. And lo and behold, the judge told them that I cannot stop Sowore from so they now went back inside the chambers of the judge to say, my Lord, give us something. And I said, well, you can protest anywhere, but you can't come to Aso Rock. But the truth is that when the people are moving, that is what Bob Marley called Exodus. Movement of the people! Exodus, movement of the people. When people are moving, nobody can stop them. And this is not an Igbo, Yoruba or Hausa protest. Freedom. It's just freedom of everybody. In fact, we have waited for too long. Small countries like Madagascar, I don't want military coups. They have done it. Nepal has done their own. Morocco has done their own. In fact, Tunisia wants to do their own second time. Egypt wants to do their own. Wow, what are we waiting for? Where are we coming out tomorrow? Yes. The second-class citizenship is applied against Syrians, but it's also applied against all of us. Because we have no start and sold out. One of them foolish was saying that Nnamdi Kanu's case is in court. That the one that Amakanu have had the foolish man, the one they call Oyenzuzu, the Oyemberibe, who went and said that Nnamdi Kanu's case is in court. But when they were doing his own corruption trial, in fact, for you to enjoy respect and prestige in Nigeria, you must be a terrorist. Of course. Of course. Yes. They will name you a militant. Yes. Or a bandit. Yes. Or a kidnapper. Or you must be a bandit. You see all the people they pardoned last week. Criminals. It was because those people are from his constituencies. He drug Lord constituency. Federal constituency of drugs. But when we have been crying this morning, they now said, oh, we are sorry, we want to review the list. That's not our business. I am not here to ask for Nnamdi Kanu to get pardon. You can only ask for pardon for a person who has committed an offense.
Sowore, known globally for his civil rights activism and his Take It Back movement, has been one of the loudest voices calling for Nnamdi Kanu's release. He recently launched the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now campaign, reaching out not only to politicians but also to everyday citizens, market traders and students, urging them to join in demanding justice. In recent weeks, he met with former President Goodluck Jonathan, who acknowledged the urgency of the matter and promised to discuss it with the Zoo Nation president. Sowore also reached out to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who publicly endorsed the movement and called for dialogue instead of prolonged detention. However, the presidency, through its media aide, Bayo Onanuga, condemned Sowore's actions, describing the protest as an attempt to incite public disorder and undermine national security. The Zoo government insists that Nnamdi Kanu is facing serious treason charges and that his case must go through due process. Officials have accused Sowore of political showmanship and trying to use the protest to discredit the Zoo Nation's president administration. But other activists and civil society groups have come out strongly in defense of Sowore. They argue that peaceful protest is a constitutional right, not a crime. One activist told our reporter, when a government tries to silence the people's voices through court orders, there is no longer democracy. That is dictatorship wearing a legal robe. Many Nigerians online have echoed this sentiment, saying the Zoo government's attempt to stop the protest is an abuse of power and a threat to free expression. Across social media and local communities, citizens are already expressing anger and frustration. Some said that no court order can stop the protest, declaring that whether the court likes it or not, we will march for justice. Others have criticized the Zoo government for focusing on stopping protests instead of addressing the real issues: insecurity, unemployment, and political exclusion. One youth from Enugu told our correspondent, you can't silence millions of the citizens who believe that the detention of Nnamdi Kanu has brought nothing but more tension to the southeast. We are ready to speak up peacefully. Political analysts have also weighed in. One Abuja-based political commentator described the Zoo government's move as a misuse of state power, warning that this kind of approach could further damage the Zoo Nation's democratic image. He said, instead of engaging citizens through dialogue and accountability, the government is using courts and police power to suppress dissent. That is dangerous for democracy. He also questioned why court case was filed in such haste, calling it a strategy to intimidate Sowore and discourage others from joining the movement. In a shocking development, some Igbo groups have come out against the planned October 20th protest. These groups, mostly based in Anambra and Imo states, have called for calm and urged the government not to succumb to pressure to release Nnamdi Kanu. They argue that Kanu must face his terrorism charges, claiming his movement and IPOB were responsible for insecurity and economic collapse in the southeast. One of the group's leaders said, "We lost our businesses, our loved ones, our peace because of the violence that came with IPOB's activities. There must be justice before peace." They are staging what they called an anti-protest rally with the hashtag No to Release, saying justice must be served for victims of violence allegedly linked to IPOB. Let's sit back and watch the short video.
Lawyer, it's Nnamdi Kanu and his lawyer that went to Enugu. I don't know whether the next time they will be going to Somalia or Afghanistan to file another process. Now, they don't want him to face trial. If they actually believe the government has no case, if they actually believe the government has no case, why are they not allowing him to go present his defense? The government has closed his prosecution. So why are they not letting him defend himself? And someone who want to abort the cause of justice while claiming to be the victim. No, we will not allow it to happen. Let them cry from now till tomorrow. Let them wail from now till tomorrow. We must find justice for our law enforcement personnel, and we send our wishes, good wishes, to all the members of law enforcement stationed in the southeast. We feel your pain. We know the dangers you are in. We will even call on our state governors to make provisions for special payment for any member of law enforcement that is serving in the southeast, because it's not an easy task. Thank you, everyone. Your name is what? My Chizoram Harrison of Ebu Ijele speaks.
Speak to the press is to raise awareness on this issue of Nnamdi Kanu and those who are asking for his unconditional release. First of all, we are not novice of the law in this country. We understand that recently the president had issued a pardon to some convicted criminals. We want to make it clear that we understand that a presidential pardon can only be issued to somebody who has been tried and convicted of a crime and serving his sentence. We have not seen, I am widely traveled, I have not seen a place where people will gather themselves to call for an unconditional release of somebody who has not been convicted, who has not even been tried. Therefore, we want to disassociate ourselves and the entire Igbo people from this charade of calling for Nnamdi Kanu's release. We are calling for justice for victims of Nnamdi Kanu's activity and his ESN and IPOB affiliates.
This new twist has deepened divisions within the southeast, a region that once stood united in its call for justice. While some say releasing Nnamdi Kanu will bring peace, others fear it could reignite unrest. Political experts say this division only makes it harder to achieve a true solution. How can the same people who want peace now turn against each other? One analyst asked. The Southeast needs unity, not rivalry, if it must achieve lasting peace. Meanwhile, a large section of the public believes that some of these anti-protest groups may have been sponsored to discredit Sowore's movement. Sowore himself has hinted at this, saying he was aware of paid agents who would try to infiltrate or disrupt the protest. In his words, "We know the game. They will use propaganda and paid groups to stand against us. But the truth cannot be silenced. The citizens must rise for justice." This has led to national debate. Are these groups truly grassroots movements, or are they government-backed operations? The Zoo government has not responded to these allegations yet. In conclusion, as October 20th approaches, tension is rising. The streets are talking, the courts are watching, and the citizens are waiting to see if the right to protest will be respected or suppressed. This case is not just about Nnamdi Kanu or Sowore, it's about what kind of democracy the Zoo nation truly wants. One that listens to its citizens, or one that silences them through fear and legal threats. So my people, what do you think? Should the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest go on despite the Zoo government's attempt to stop it? Is the Zoo government protecting national security or simply trying to silence dissent? And do you believe these anti-protest groups are genuinely grassroots voices or the Zoo government-backed distractions? Let's hear from you in the comment section below. Your option matters. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to 24/7 News Buzz for more verified updates and bold analysis. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed.